3, 2, 1, and we're back again. So we've successfully set up this mini bedroom recording studio that she doesn't know about, but it's actually working, and I'm actually really pleased with the budget results. So what we've got is a Zoom L-12 live track which has internal recording. We've got a Multiclock ERM, get it right, it's not RME, the other brand, which is a similar name. Multiclock system. Tracker, lovely. MPC, although they missed out certain functions from the MPC One, which are included on the MPC Live. However, we won't get into that. We're not talking about Ableton Live functionality here. Ableton Link is built in, but there are other features that are not. But anyway, that's for a different video. We're not using them anyway, because we're just using the MPC DAW. But we're not using it, but we are using it. Actually, I'll just run through quickly how this is set up. So we've got a speaker. We've got live monitoring through the L-12, just straight out of the main output. It's actually through the phone's output there, so that just comes straight through. We've got a nice sound through the Audio Pro all-room, all-in-one speaker with eco mode switched off because it's a real pain in the bum. We've got a 777 there. We've got a Roger Lynn effects unit. It's actually all right. Say hello to Roger. Let's not go there, but anyway, thanks, Roger. And then swings unit. We've got swing also built in the multi-clock. We touched on that last time. Do prefer the Future Retro, even though technically on paper, if you used to look at like a sheet of paper with timing things written down by the Blade Runner people, it's not quite as the performance, whatever, but it sounds good. But so what we're trying to get at here is there is still digitones in the house. We've got the analog 4, really good machine. Behringer's not plugged in, or is it? Yes, it is plugged in. The 303 has blown up, so the Behringer's there now. We've had the Behringer, a couple of months now. Yes, it's a nice sort of the sequencer works the same as the 303, so you'll enjoy that. All the functions, there's some MIDI, you can save patterns and stuff, but let's boil it down, the sound, I think you could use it in a minimal fashion, and I've not really had a chance yet, but maybe if we threw, I think you could throw this through some effects units and stuff, and get sort of an authentic sound, a disguised sound, because that straight out the can, through the same pedals that the 303 goes, it doesn't sound, Side by side comparison. I mean, I would know anyway, even if it doesn't have to be side by side. But yeah, it's close, and it's getting there. But it's got the tone of it. Just sounds a bit. I don't know. I wouldn't. Is the other machine worth £1,500 more? I don't know. It's debatable. But there are. You could get yourself XOX box. However you pronounce that, clones, and the new DinSync clone, although they're nearly £1,000 built, these are only it's like a few drinks with mates sort of price. It's £120. So if you really want to just get something that's close, then yeah, great, go with it. But you won't be satisfied if you're a user of like one of these or any of the other clones, because like I say, it's just, there's a few things like the envelope, it doesn't seem to pull in, and the tone of it, and this distortion section, I don't know, it's kind of, it's close, and I mean, I think I'd sell it. I think I'm going to program it, do my pattern dump and stuff, which I'll put on sale, and then I'll probably just sell it, because I don't really need it. I don't see myself using it. I think if I wanted to set it up for accents and just do like a womp sort of accent that I could be useful for that. But why not just sample the accents, play them back on the MPC? So as a long-term thing, I don't see myself jamming with this. However, I'd just, you know what I mean, almost Mehringer, almost. It's like acid at an affordable price, affordable acid. But yeah. I think if you wanted to just dabble now and again, and then like this, you could just throw in a kit bag. You could take it anywhere, although it doesn't run on batteries. But you could get, you get what I'm saying. You could take this anywhere. It doesn't really matter. You could literally at the end of the night just smash it on a wall, and it wouldn't really matter because it doesn't cost. Whereas a real 303. I mean, they're plagued with issues. The boards are like coming up 40 years old now. They're literally, you just breathe on the thing and it's gone wrong. Literally, you can just turn the thing on one day, turn it on the next, it's not working anymore. There's all manner of things that can go wrong. These, on the other hand, they're like bulletproof. This is stronger built than the R2 units for the... and the sound on that is strong as well. It's got real sound of its own. These, I do like these, but these give you an electric shock. This is all right, although I think if I had to toss up between the digitone and the analog 4, I'd probably keep the analog 4. In fact, I would. So there it is. Analog 4 has, and I had the digitone, and that went in favour of the MPC. It was just too limited. And I actually had to go on the analog rhythm, which has got analog rhythm 2 actually, which has got a sampling system. Again, the sampling system's very weak in it. It's almost like they've cut it back on purpose. You can do basic drum sounds with it, but if you really wanted to edit like loops or anything in there, forget it. On the analog rhythm, it is they've dumbed it so much that you can't really use it as a proper instrument. However, the drums on it, the analog drums, excellent. But if you got an analog rhythm Mark II and you've paid what, 1,400 quid, or maybe close to 2,000 quid brand new, you're going to be disappointed with that sampling section. But you can recreate a TR-505 or 707 and that kind of thing from that sampling section. That's what it's designed to do. But there was no reason. Absolutely no reason they couldn't have put proper sample loop editing, which is really the only thing that is lacking. Is that if you've got a long sample and you change like the triggers and stuff, once you get into like the delays at the beginning, you'll just find out if you ever get to do that. So you would be editing all your samples on a computer, not on the analog rhythm itself. Whereas the Akai, you can do that fairly easy for half the money. You're looking at an MPC one, 5,500 quid, brand new. Who knows in a few years' time. Like I say, the analog rhythm is an expensive instrument, great at what it does, but the sampling side lets it down. Tracker, loving that. It's got some quirks. Don't get me wrong, it's got some quirks. Mono samples on there, but it doesn't matter. This thing's great. It's great. It's like instant hardcore if you load it up with samples and stuff. And what we got? Look, we're doing like a Star Wars remix for the Amen Therapy. It's coming along, but I've noted this video. So MPC software, it triggers with the plugin in there. There's a multitude of ways actually with the Zoom mixer to set this up. So I'd definitely recommend one, and I'd recommend it over the Model 12 Tascam that's just come out. A similar sort of budget mixer with recording built in. And the reason I would basically preference this over the other one is, one, it's 100 quid cheaper, but that ain't it. Two, the main reason is the headphone sends. So you've got 5 stereo sends on this. If you look in the spec for the Tascam Model 12 and the other Tascam models in that range, the other models in that range don't have MIDI. This doesn't have MIDI either, but you don't need it, and I'll explain why in a minute. But at the end of the day, Tascam Model 12, 2 auxiliary sends, and they're both mono, which means once you've used one of them for, say, like to drive the multiclock, You know, I mean, what are you left with? Whereas here I'm using one for that, one for the master, and I've still got 3 left. So this is versatile. It is lunchbox sort of build, but at the end of the day, doesn't matter. We're not touching it. The main thing over the Model 12, Tascam Model 12, is that these faders on the Model 12 with the MIDI and everything that's built in actually works as a Mackie style faders. So basically when you get down to mix down in your DAW, at that point you can move these faders and they move on the screen. With this, they don't. This is just a dumb mixer. It records the 14 inputs, or the 12 inputs. We can record actually up to 10 inputs, plus the effects return actually as a master. That's how that does. So any sends going to the send comes on this and is recorded with a master track. So effectively, just like an effects track as well as your dry tracks and effects track for everything. So this is what you would expect. But it works great. Press record. It's a bit like a multi-track DAT recorder. You can do 96 kilohertz standalone. Again, Model 12 you can't do that. Plugged into a DAW though, 48, and that's what we're using. So 24, 48. You can switch 41 if you want. I wouldn't advise that, but yeah, straight onto the card. And the other thing is, I'm not sure about the Model 12 Tascam, but this records simultaneously to the DAW and to itself. So you can press record on the DAW. The audio from this is going in multi-track to the tracks that we've got set up. Yeah. You can see that. So basically, yeah, sound coming out, coming in, and also we can record onto it at the same time. Yeah, so wow, excellent. It's like we can do that before, and live monitoring, so we can monitor with no latency. That's the main thing on a completely standalone system. So all good. So getting back to the quirk with the Polyend Tracker. So MPC one, yeah, they left a few things out. It's a bit budget. Overall works all right. Doesn't work with MIDI clock input for the swing. So you'd have to, if you want swing on this, you need to use the internal swing and then clock it. Again, you've got to keep a really basic project on there. Well, I've got quite an advanced project and it's working fine. However, no plugins. So as soon as, I bogged it down with plugins and there was too much memory used, the thing clocks really badly, starts slowing down. Various patterns, polyphony and stuff, all of a sudden it can go, and the thing's bugging out. So keep it light on here and you'll find it's good and it will play ball. But like I say, swing, don't even go there. So it's not gonna, it don't clock well to external unless it's just a straight clock. This can handle swing. This handles swing beautifully. This one can handle swing, but the internal effects, because the sounds on there are developed with a lot of lush effects and reverbs and delays, putting swing on it just falls apart. And it actually will respond, this will respond, because there's no song mode, you're better off running, if you want to make a song, you're better off putting the song on here, program change to change the sounds, disable the internal sequencer because it's actually tighter, so you'll play notes from here, trigger on here. This clock will be switched off but set to the tempo that you're using, so the effects stay nice and sweet and no bouncing around, because the clock's got some woe and flutter on the clock there, if you get what I'm saying. And you can use an external effect instead for big delays and stuff like that. So that all works great. Yeah, so last thing then, and let's see if it's happening today. So we've got a multi-clock set up from what we had yesterday. It's saved in there. So out of the box, yeah, some weird things going on with that. We've fixed them and we've got it running. We've got like a song and stuff. So we're happy with that. We can use it. But what we found is the slave to multi-clock latency, technical term, but effectively, if this was to be the master and this start at the minute, the MPC is the master. Doesn't matter which one, but we press play. Well, actually, the MPC is not the master. It's coming from the multi-clocks. The multi-clock's the master for everything. The Stripe plugin goes to there, triggers that, and it follows the laptop. Project's got absolutely nothing on it. We're working standalone for the MPC, but we've got everything armed to record. We're not even monitoring that. We're just monitoring live from that. from the mixer just straight to the speakers, and we'll deal with any like fading, and we want to do like a audio mix down on the computer after we've done the record. Up until that point, we don't even need the computer. So if we wanted, we can just switch the master on here and completely disregard this. But what I want to do is record. I want MPC software to be the master clock. So once we have recorded it, whether we arm the recording on here and get it, or we do it on both and get it, we can put the wave card, get the wave track, stick it in here. And the clock was based from a lovely empty project on the PC or Mac, set to the clock that we wanted. Yeah. So when we put our tracks in, there was absolutely no, plugins weren't slowing it down. We didn't get any like whirr and flutter or latency or anything weird going on when we was generating our plug-in clock signal to the multi-clock, which means hopefully, if you can understand all that, we're going to have a nice tight clock for everything to slave to, which is, what I mean. That is one of the biggest headaches in the studio, to get everything like, clocked together and the audio record. Because trust me, I've recorded so many things over the years, especially when they're like 20-minute, jam for 20 minutes, and then try and put all those multi-tracks together at the end. And it's so depressing when you spend like the next 6 months trying to get like tracks to be in synchronization with each other. It's just a nightmare and such a waste of time. So this should combat that, because so far so good. But what I found, right, so back to the actual thing we were trying to talk about, is the Polyend Tracker has a latency, and the latency is insane. So it doesn't matter whether this is the clock master or that's the clock master or whatever. Now normally with a clock master from the MPC, you can't offset the latency for an external device, not unless you've got a plug-in on the DAW with like a millisecond delay. We can delay the MPC, and then this one can be like brought into line with it, right? So it's just a horrible way of doing it with delays and stuff on the mixer bus. With this, we can shift the offset of the MIDI clock per four outputs to bring everything into line. So even if this was a little bit lazy, we could just like half a millisecond it. You can actually shift things like US, but this, when typically sync together from any master, this, and this are all pretty much within 1 millisecond timing. And in a live performance scenario, you would just say, fuck it, that's good enough. You just hit play and you jam that lot together. But the Polyend Tracker does not. At least this unit. This unit may have like a bug problem. It certainly had some other weird things going on, but we love it. So we're putting up with it. We've chatted with Polyend. They've sent us a few firmware updates. That's not affected the MIDI clock timing. But the weird thing is, and here it is, every day I switch it on, the latency changes. It's different. All of the other equipment stays exactly the same. The latency is the same every day. I turn it on. There's no change, because I can obviously look on the multi-clock which they're clocked to. The setup is saved on there. I know it's not been moved because no one else touches this. But the latency on this has changed. Literally every time I turn it on with like a 12-hour, it's been switched off 12 hours. I come back to it, latency's changed again, and I dial it in here, save it, and I've sort of been making a record. So it started off at like 15 milliseconds. I think I remember having 7, but it might have been the difference between it being master and a slave, whatever. The other day it was like 35. Now it's 56.9 milliseconds. That's insane. So this effectively is on the mixing bus with audio coming in from that, and to compare the two together, this one's 56.9 milliseconds behind the other one. That's an insane amount. But it's not the sound. Look, watch. Look, the sound has absolutely no delay at all. So there's no delay. There's no delay on the sound because I've measured it. Right, absolutely none. Right, you can see the light coming on. Right, and I'm triggering it and you can hear it. It's absolutely, that's not 56.9 milliseconds, is a mile. But what that is this is playing back, and the clock that this is, so the clock comes in to this, it says 56.9 milliseconds later. Oh yeah, there's the clock. I'm following it. So basically, it is delayed by like nearly 60 milliseconds. Let's see what it is today, because I'm sure it's changed again. So let's just reset this song, get it ready. Let's find out. Right, put that back to that. I think that's it. Right, here we go. Let's press play. That's it. So the clock's coming in, generated by the plugin into the input. MIDI clocks are getting bashed out to that one, that one, that one. It's going everywhere, but it's gone to this one on its own separate channel. But I've got a feeling when we actually get to something we can hear on this, that I'm going to move this knob and we'll find that we can get a lot of tighter. Or is it? I don't know yet. I'm not completely sure. And we can fiddle with this knob. Look. Right, here we go. So the breaks are coming from this. The hi-hats are coming from that. Right, and I can put the swing on the hi-hats here. But at the end of the... So here, it sounds really loose to me. Is it not to you? It sounds loose to me. So let's turn down this... Let's turn down the acid. Just listen to the hi-hats and listen to this breakbeats. And I'm going to dial this knob and see what we got today. Yeah, let's tighten it up a bit. Right, a bit back the other way. Here we go. Told ya. So I've just hit a sweet spot around 61.9. Whereas yesterday it was 58 or whatever it was a minute ago, but it weren't. That's it. So 61.9 today. You know what I mean? Why has that changed? So I've just entered that in. We'll go back to the beginning of the song now. We'll turn that acid back up. Put that back to the beginning. You know, I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm doing. Most of the time anyway. So, wow, 22 minutes of talking about this. But here we go. So we're going to start again. We'll do like a 2-minute preview of what we're working on. It should start when I press play. Let's try it again. Okay, so I need to come out of this mode. Let's try it now. There we go. It's just, you have to come out of that mode. Whoa. This time, see, look, that unit, hi-hats, this knob, hi-hats. This button does the super acid sliding phase system. The force is built into that, you see. Don't overdo it with that knob, so you get in trouble with that knob. Turn that one off, and this will do some delays for ham solo. There we go. There we go. Bit of more. Bit more swing. What, Chewy? Calm it down, mate. Might have to tighten that up, you know, that milliseconds. I think we're like maybe half a millisecond out or something. So we want to do something with them. I think they're coming from down there actually. Here we go. Maniac. Here we go. Chewy echo. Getting there, eh? So I say, I think we got to switch really to like, this is our tracker, and I reckon we could maybe tweak this live, but I don't know. Hard to dial that in. Well, I think there's a 0.1 or something for the brakes opposed to the hi-hats. Right, so yeah. Whew, I'm exhausted now. Exhausted. Oh yeah, we got our. So we can use that whenever we want down here the effects return. If I had like fourth hand or something. You know, artistically move that fader. Yeah, we definitely had them hi-hats tighter locked to this yesterday. So I think I put another video out on Instagram yesterday, and you should be able to hear them. But basically, yeah, ongoing mystery. Why does the MIDI clock latency keep changing like on daily? Because I mean, I don't get it. Does anyone else get it? What I'd like to do is hear from someone else with a Polyend Tracker. One, is it synchronizing with MIDI clock with no latency to any other external master? If you actually understand that phrase, then get back to me. Certainly send me a PM. Or the other way around, if this is the master and something else is slave to, you know, if you've got a TB clone or something slave to your tracker, and have you measured the latency? Can you, I mean, you can audibly hear, let's just do a demo. Seeing as the video has been so long, it doesn't make any difference at this point because it is crazy long. If I go into, yep, so we're going to press stop because you can't get into the mode otherwise. So we do like select the track that it's on, which is, it's only the one on that, you know, that's it. Go into offset because we've set the offset to 0 by using the offset doobry. We'll set our offset at 0. So just dial it back to 0. That's near enough, like 0.9, because you need 2 amps to do that one. So just so you can hear the difference, right? We just need the hi-hats and that. So press play. Actually, I'm going to get that back to there. Press play. We don't need that one. Press stop. We don't need that one. Press stop. Everything else is playing. So the hi-hats are on here. So when the breakbeat cuts in, you'll know that that is the polyend. And then compared to the hi-hats, you'll hear the latency, the difference between the MIDI clock latencies. So there's something weird going on.
Bulkier legends and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster.
I think it's on the next bar it cuts in, so it's not too long to wait. Let's mess with this. But anyway, there's the latency. So it's almost like a half a 16th note behind now. It's an insane amount of latency. Right, so we're going to dial that back out again now. Go get back to our 60 odd. Not sure if you can actually see the screen. But getting back towards 60 now. There we go. So now we're sort of back in time, right? 72.9 milliseconds. So our hi-hats are back in time now with the breakbeat, yeah. So actually turn up our hi-hats a bit so we can hear them. I think that's that track. There we go. So there's our kick and hi-hat track, and there's the breakbeats on there. Yeah. So it's working nicely, but if it weren't for the multi-clock right now, we'd be stuffed. Because the song we've made on here would be like an insane amount of latency behind. Thanks, Chewy. I know, I understand, mate, and I'm on it. I'm working on it. I am. So there it is in a nutshell. I shall save the. But what I don't, even if the right. So let's break it down like this. So even if the latency was different, you wouldn't expect every time you turn this on and off for it to have changed. Or at least overnight. It's like I could turn it on and off now and it'd be the same, right? But I would leave it 24 hours, turn it back on again, and then it would have changed. So that is weird. So like someone's hacking in, changing the latency of that, or there's just a weird bug in there. So I'll try and like I said, it would be nice if I knew if anyone else had the same problem. If not, with the tracker itself, maybe it's just this unit. But at the end of the day, I need to finish this competition. This is the Ham Solo by Duke Skywalker entry to Aim Therapy. So I'd appreciate your vote. If anyone's listening to this, that would be cool. And it's, like I said, if you've got a Polyend Tracker and anything else that's a slave or a master, get back to me. Let me know whether it's just my machine or whether indeed there is some glitch in the force there with the firmware or something, because I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers. Ham Solo, Duke Skywalker. Thank you.